If You Lived in Colonial Times, pages 24 to 33. What happened if you didn't behave in school? Almost every schoolmaster in colonial days kept a birch branch handy, and almost every schoolmaster used it to whip schoolboys who didn't behave. They used other punishments too. If you didn't know your lessons, you were called a dunce. You had to sit on the dunce stool and wear a dunce cap. Sometimes you had to wear leather eyeglass frames. If you whispered to a friend, you had to wear wooden whispering sticks in your mouth. If you didn't pay attention to the schoolmaster, you had to wear a card around your neck that said idle boy. If you were caught biting your nails, you had to wear a card that said bite finger baby. Some punishments hurt your feelings and made you feel foolish. Some punishments just hurt. A very cruel schoolmaster might tell a boy to bring him a small branch from a tree. The schoolmaster cut a slit in one end of the branch. The boy who didn't behave had to wear the branch on his nose for an hour or more. If you went to school in colonial days and didn't behave, ouch. What books did the children read? The most important book was the Bible. Children were taught to read just so they could read the Bible. There were many religious books. There were serious books about manners. There were scary stories and poems about the terrible things that would happen to children who were not good. But there were no storybooks for children, so children read storybooks that were written for grown-ups, Aesop's Fables and Robinson Crusoe. What happened if you were sick? If you were sick in colonial days, your mother would make you as comfortable as she could, just as your mom does now. She would move your bed close to the fire to keep you warm. Then she would think about the kind of medicine to give you. What kind of medicine did people use? Plants called herbs were said to cure almost anything. If you cut yourself, herbs made the cut heal faster. If you bumped yourself, herbs made the swelling go down. There were even herbs to help mend a broken arm or leg. Every family grew their own herbs in their gardens and made their own medicines. Herbs might be good for you, but they tasted bitter. Your mom would mix the herbs in honey to make them taste better. Some people had strange ideas about medicine. A tea made of ground up roasted toads was supposed to be good for you. Governor John Winthrop of Massachusetts Bay Colony wrote down what to do when someone had a high fever. Cut the sick man's nails and put the nails into a little bag of fine linen. Put a live eel into a tub of water. Tie the little bag of nails around the eel's neck. The eel will die and the sick man will get better. When a baby gets his first teeth, he often does not feel well. In colonial days, a mother would tie a string of berries around the baby's neck. This was supposed to make the baby feel better, but if the baby still cried, his mother tried another kind of necklace, a necklace made out of the teeth of a wolf. Anybody could sell medicines in colonial days. Sometimes the medicines that were sold were not medicines at all. Some people sold plain water and called it medicine. They put water into a fancy bottle and gave it a fancy name. Were there doctors in colonial days? There weren't many doctors. If you were very sick, your neighbor might be sent to get the nearest doctor. Your neighbor might have to ride all day before he found a doctor. Many doctors thought a good way to cure a sick man was to bleed him. The doctor would cut open a vein in the sick man's arm and let some blood flow out. If the sick man did not get better, people said that was the fault of witches. In colonial days, many people believed in witches. They said that witches cast evil spells. It was the witches with their evil spells that made people sick, they said. What happened if you went out at night? If a town watchman saw you outside after dark, he might say, "What are you doing? Where are you going? Are you supposed to be home?" And if you did not have a good reason, the town watchman would scold you and take you right home. It was against the law to walk around at night, and it was the town watchman's job to see that everyone obeyed the law. The town watchman never knew what he might have to do next. Sometimes he had to take a lost cow home to its owner. Sometimes he had to be the kind of alarm clock. If someone had to take a trip early in the morning, he would ask the town watchman to wake him. One town watchman walked the streets for 3 nights with a man who had such a bad toothache that he could not sleep. What did people do on Sundays? Sunday was the Lord's Day. It was a day to think about God. People thought about God at home. They thought about God in their church, called a meeting house. People went to the meeting house for 2 hours on Sunday mornings. They went to the meeting house again for 2 hours on Sunday afternoon. Everybody had to go, babies too. Babies who were too little to sit up straight on the wooden benches had a very special place in the meeting house. They were put in wooden cages, like playpens, where they could lie down. Children tried not to wriggle around. They tried not to fall asleep during the long prayers, the Bible reading, the hymns, and the sermons. This is the end of today's lesson.